Sometimes the greatest battles are not won by strength, but by trust in God. In moments of overwhelming fear, it is faith that can turn the tide, even when all hope seems lost. In ancient Israel, a valley separated two armies. On one side, the Israelites, trembling with fear and uncertainty, and on the other, the Philistines, led by a giant named Goliath, whose reputation struck terror into every heart. Goliath, towering and armored from head to toe, mocked Israel and their God every day for 40 days, striding out with confidence and daring anyone to fight him, his challenge echoing through the valley. His voice thundered across the valley, paralyzing Israel's soldiers with fear. Each morning his taunts grew louder, his threats more menacing, shaking the courage of even the bravest warriors. King Saul and his men saw only Goliath's strength and their own weakness. Their hearts were heavy, their spirits broken, as they measured themselves against the giant. No one dared to face the giant. Hope seemed lost. The battlefield remained empty, the challenge unanswered, as fear held them captive. The Israelites hid in their camp, listening to Goliath's taunts echo day after day. Anxiety and dread filled the air, and every night brought only more uncertainty. The darkness of fear swallowed all courage. No champion stepped forward, and the silence in the valley grew heavier with each passing day. The valley became a place of despair, where hope seemed to vanish beneath the weight of fear and doubt. But the story was not over. Even in the darkest valley, a new dawn can break, bringing hope where there was none before. Far from the noise and chaos of the battlefield, a young shepherd named David faithfully watched over his father's sheep near the quiet hills of Bethlehem. The early morning sun cast a golden glow over the fields, and David's days were spent guiding, protecting, and caring for his flock. He was the youngest of 8 brothers, often overlooked and left behind with the sheep while his older siblings went about more important tasks. Yet, in those silent fields, David found a deep friendship with God, learning to trust him in every moment, whether in danger or peace. One day his father called him from the fields and sent him to deliver food to his brothers at the army camp. As David arrived, he was met with the sound of Goliath's taunts echoing across the valley, and saw the fear that gripped the Israelite soldiers. But David's heart burned with faith, not fear. "Who is this Philistine to defy the armies of the living God?" he asked, his voice steady and full of conviction. He could not stand by while God's name was dishonored. His brothers scolded him harshly, telling him to mind his own business and return to the sheep, dismissing his courage as youthful pride. But David saw what others could not. He knew that God's honor was at stake. He believed with all his heart that God was greater than any giant, no matter how fearsome. David's trust had grown strong in the lonely fields, shaped by nights under the stars and dangers faced alone. Now that trust was ready to be tested in the valley, where faith would face its greatest challenge. King Saul heard of David's bold words and summoned him to his royal tent, curiosity and concern etched on his face. David stood before the king, small in stature but unshaken in spirit. "Let no one lose heart because of this Philistine," David declared. "I will go and fight Goliath myself." Saul looked at David with doubt and worry. "You are only a boy," he said, "and Goliath has been a warrior since his youth." But David answered with conviction, "I have faced lions and bears while protecting my father's sheep." "God rescued me from the paw of the lion and the bear," David continued, "and he will rescue me from the hand of this Philistine." David's faith was not just words. It was forged in hardship and tested in danger. Saul saw in David a certainty and hope he himself had lost long ago. With a heavy heart but a glimmer of belief, Saul said, "Go, and may the Lord be with you." Saul tried to dress David in his own heavy armor, hoping to protect him. But the armor was too large and cumbersome. David removed it all, choosing to trust in something greater. He would not rely on armor or sword, but on God alone. David chose faith over fear, and a simple sling over a king's protection. With courage in his heart, David stepped out onto the battlefield, ready to face the giant that everyone else feared. David walked to the stream, choosing 5 smooth stones for his sling. He approached Goliath, who laughed at the sight of a boy with no armor. "Am I a dog, that you come at me with sticks?" Goliath roared. David stood firm, unshaken. "You come with sword and spear," David called, "but I come in the name of the Lord Almighty, whom you have defied. This battle is the Lord's, not mine." David's courage came from his trust in God. He was ready to show where true strength comes from. The armies watched, breathless. The outcome would change everything. Faith, not size, would decide the day. The battle ended in a single moment of faith. As Goliath shouted, David ran forward, placed a stone in his sling, and let it fly. The stone struck Goliath's forehead. The giant crashed to the ground. The unbeatable champion was defeated by a shepherd's faith. The Philistines fled in terror. Israel's courage returned. God did not need a giant to defeat a giant. He needed a trusting heart. The Lord looks at the heart, not outward strength. David's victory proved that nothing is impossible with God. Faith matters more than size or skill. Like David, we can face our own giants with trust in God. The battle belongs to the Lord. He gives the victory. And a shepherd became a king.